5 Point fam, we are back. We're back with the Coach's Corner. Jack, Coach P, me, and we got a special guest with us today, man. We got this is our first actual Duke player on the Coach's Corner. This is Taylor King on the Coach's Corner with us, y'all. I'm stoked right now. I'm real happy about this, man. Taylor, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. This will be fun.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, we wanted to bring you on. Obviously for valid reasons, playing at Duke. B, you have some crazy tournament experience. So moving into the second weekend, we're going to be talking about the Duke's second pod, their second weekend pod, Alabama, BYU, Arizona. So kind of picking the brain of somebody who's been there and done it, and kind of what it means to go into this level, into this point in the tournament. Probably the hardest point in the tournament, in my opinion, at least, mentally to prepare for. And then we're going to break down the three teams that we're going to play in this region. Obviously, we'll break down the Arizona Duke game from the past before, talk about some of the things that happened there, and then some of the things that Alabama and BYU like to do and what we want to look forward to and how Duke can play against those guys. But Taylor, I'm just going to start with you, man. We talked about the tournament experience. Like, what was your experience like in the tournament, having been there with Duke, with Nova, and those schools?
First and foremost, just getting to the tournament in general is an absolute honor, right? But when you're at a school like Villanova or Duke, you have high expectations. Being a 2 seed in both times that I played in it, it was a grind, man. It was a grind. I mean, if you guys remember correctly, we almost lost that first round game to the 15 seed. I think it was American. I think it was. Nearly lost. They threw up a half court shot, a buzzer, kind of like when they won the championship against Butler. We almost lost. We almost lost in that game. And so, we were very fortunate to move to the second round. And then we played a hell of a West Virginia team, man. Joey Alexander, Joe Mazzulla, forgot who, Butler, I think, was on that team. And
did they have Pittsnoggle in too?
What's that?
Kevin Pittsnoggle, is he on that?
No, he's a little,
right?
Yeah, he's a little older than me. I'm not that take it easy on that one. But no, it was a grind, man. They were really, really good. And it was unfortunate, I think in that game, we couldn't get any stops. I mean, honestly, Joey Alexander was a problem in college at that time, and they were really well coached, and they had a really good team. So, it was a bit of a letdown year that year. The following year, I was at Villanova. Obviously, I didn't play in any games because back then you had to sit out a whole year, which was ridiculous. And we ended up going to the Final Four. So, and I was there for every game, and I was, in the huddles, and I was on the bench, and I was, at every game, and very much involved. And it was that was a special team we had at Villanova. Dante Cunningham, Dwayne Anderson, Shane Clark, and Scotty Reynolds. And
Shane Clark.
Yeah, remember Scotty Reynolds hit the buzzer beater against Pitt to go to the Final Four. In Boston.
That was on the same play that won the championship for Nova in 2016.
Correct. But if you remember, they hit the pitchback play for the championship. This one, Scotty took it all the way to the rack and hit it on DeJuan Blair to go to the Final Four. But that year we beat UCLA. We beat Duke, I think.
Yeah, beat Duke too that season.
So
by 22.
But yeah, we were beating teams pretty bad in that tournament. And then we hit a buzzsaw against Pitt, and ended up fortunately getting that. That last play struck me because Reggie Redding was trying to call timeout on the baseline and didn't get the timeout, and they ended up passing to Dante. Dante fed it to Scotty, and Scotty went to the rack. That was a special moment. And then we ran into an unbelievable. I mean, North Carolina that year was unbelievable. Tyler Hansborough, Wayne Ellington. Tywon Lawson. I mean, they were really, really Danny Green. They were really good.
Yeah.
Then the next year, where I was playing, another buzzsaw, we ran into forgot who we played the first round. Robert Morris, I think it was. And we almost lost that game too in the first round. They put up a hell of a fight, and we almost lost that game. Then we played St. Mary's that year was really good, and we couldn't get anything going. They had Matthew Dellavedova, Omar Samham. We just couldn't stop inside. He was just he had like 34, and we just couldn't stop him. So unfortunately, I didn't. Me personally, I didn't make it out of the second round. So I never really made it to the Sweet 16. However, I was part of that Villanova team that did go to the Final Four. So that was a good experience. But the tournament in general is just it's really tough. Everybody's like, thinking about this 1 seed, this 2 seed, this 3 seed should breeze through. It's not the case ever. Because these 15, 16, 14, 13 seeds, right, especially the first round, is very difficult, because they never played you before. They don't know you, and they got nothing to lose. So, when you play a team like that, it's very dangerous. So this Duke team, however, is there's something special, I feel, of this Duke team. Their cohesiveness, their ability to play both sides of the ball. Their defense is really, really good, really good. And I think that's a testament to John. Shire's done a great job over there. I mean, flat out. And then he's got great minds around him. Carroll's a great coach too. And I think is that Avery's there too, right? And so
Avery's there.
Avery too. And then Mike Schrag was DOB when I was there. And so they have a great staff. And Jay was a big part of that whole staff. So I just think that they have a special group. Obviously, they have the best player in the country, bar none, flat out, right? But his ability to, again, play both sides of the ball, his defense is just as good as his offense. But you have guys like Tyrese Proctor shooting 40-some% from the 3-point line, right? I mean, you have guys like that being able to shoot the ball. And then the other kid coming off the bench, I can't pronounce. I have a bad time pronouncing his last name. The other big that comes in from Malawak.
Pangongba.
Yeah.
Gongba,
he's a player, man. He's a player. He is one tough dude. And he never really played during the year, if you remember. Like he didn't play much. I mean, he may have played spot minutes here or there, but that's how good they are. They're just so good 1 through 11, 1 through 12, that and then this next man up mentality. So I'm just really impressed with this team. Obviously, they're going to have a really difficult game against Arizona, right? Because Arizona is very good and they're very well coached. So I'm really looking forward to it. But there's something special. You can always get a good feel as a former Duke player, seeing which team is like, okay, they got a really, really good chance. They got a really good chance, right? But again, it's the problem. It's the difficult part about the tournament. It's one game, You got to be on your game, right? Or else, it's tough. So that's kind of my 2 cents.
Nah, but man, from your standpoint, because I kind of brought it up before. Which weekend do you think is the toughest in the tournament? Like that first weekend, that middle, or that last?
The first weekend for me was really tough.
Yeah.
The second round game. I mean, the first round game is kind of getting the jitters out, but it's just getting over that hump, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the top seeds, maybe not this year, at least Duke has, but not many of the top seeds after the first game. They usually get that good feel, and they're like, okay, now we got a roll going. Now we play 1 day later, right? We go 1 day off, play the next day. We kind of got the rust off, and then we go out and we beat a 7 or a 10 seed or a 9 or whatever seed, and they play. They usually perform at a high level. But all weekends are hard. I don't really know how to the Final Four honestly is like it's how do I explain it? You don't really put the Final Four in with those first 2 weekends, like the first 2 weekends. You can't do it because it's such a magnified by 1,000. Sweet 16, Elite 8 are magnified, but the Final Four and the National Championship is just on another level, right?
Right.
So, but the guys are playing so hard. I mean, you won't find teams that are not playing hard. Like,
right.
They play so hard, and it's the teams that can execute and play both sides of the ball, in my opinion, are the teams that, able to shoot the ball, at a relatively high clip and be able to place and get stops, scheming, and coaching is a big part of it as well.
And that, I mean, honestly, you brought up the coaching. That kind of leads us into this pod. You got 4 amazing coaches in this part of the region. I mean, all over right now. I mean, there's great coaches obviously all over the place. Pobbs, I mean, you were looking at the Alabama scout. Jack, you're looking at BYU scout. I mean, Pobbs, what are you kind of looking at with this region a little bit in the tournament?
What you talking about? Just with Alabama in particular?
Yeah, just for Duke's pod, just for our part of the region.
So You got to refresh, man. Who's on this part of the region, man? I don't
Well,
know, man. I'm just
like
like, you
right
know,
now,
Duke.
we got Bama left, we got BYU, we got Arizona, and us until we get to that Final Four.
Okay, so I mean, I think Bama definitely would be the toughest game,
Mhm.
just because of the sheer talent and how they score the ball so well or whatever. And I think you know, the narrative around Alabama has always been, you know, they score but they don't play any defense. They
Mhm.
play a lot better defense than, you know, than you think they do. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They have some individual defenders that are very, very good. They got some rim protection around there, but they got a lot of talent, man, on offense. A lot of
Yeah.
talent. You know, it's kind of equivalent to, you know, Duke's talent. I think we got a little bit more and we're a little deeper. But
Mhm.
overall, man, I think that game would turn out to be a barn burner, man. That could be a high scoring game. But like I said last night in our pod, you know, I get pretty comfortable watching Duke games because of the defense, our defense, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even when we're not shooting the ball well, I feel like our defense has held, you
Mhm.
know, in any situation that we've been in, you know, if we're down or whatever the case may be, teams haven't got a big lead on us because, you know, we defend so well, you know what I'm saying? And it always gets us back in the game. And eventually it's like Duke just finds their rhythm, man, and they
Mhm.
just out talent you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, when you got the luxury of that, man, I think you know, we stand a really good chance in winning. So good luck to I think this honestly, I think this Arizona game is gonna be a blowout. I think we're gonna blow them out. I think we're gonna blow them out. I was
All
talking
right.
to Carter Bryant's dad earlier today, and he was on me about that. He was like, "You think they're gonna blow us out?" I was like, "Yes, we're gonna whip y'all ass." To be honest with you, so you know, but you know, it is what it is, man. I love those guys. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
got some guys I know over there at Arizona. I got a lot of love for them. But like I said, man, hey, you the enemy until the game is over. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying?
Sure.
Once the game is over, you know,
Till
I
that
love
clock
you
is zero.
again, but you're gonna take this 20 ball. So um, you know, I think it's gonna be a fun game, man. I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna go to that game or not. I think I better figure it out pretty soon.
I
So
know, right?
Yeah,
shit.
you
I
and
was
me
about to say
both,
a couple
Pablo.
days.
What's up,
You and me
Jack?
both. You and me
Are you
both
going to
trying
the
to figure
game?
that out. I might be. I'm trying to figure it out.
So
Jack, you're
if I
not
don't
far
go
from
there,
there.
I'm definitely gonna go
I'm
to.
not. I'm only a couple hours away.
Yeah, the only problem is that I got that Puma event this Saturday, so
Hmm.
or this Friday through Sunday, so I'm like, fuck. So I guess I got to go to the Auburn game. Fuck, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'd rather go to the Duke game, but you know what I'm saying? You know how it
You get
is,
to watch
man.
basketball all weekend, bro. That's, I mean,
Just get the
can't be
scout for
mad
the
at
natty.
that.
Just get the
Yeah,
Right, you
scout for
can't
the
be mad
natty
at
on
that.
Pubs.
I know, right? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'll be scouting Auburn, but nah, I mean, I think I still like, man, I still like our chances. Like I say, if we get past Arizona and Alabama gets past, who's Alabama playing?
They playing
BYU.
BYU.
BYU. They might not get past BYU, to be honest with you, man. The way BYU is
It's gonna
playing,
be a tough
bro.
game
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
going to be a
I
tough
mean,
game.
yeah. Alabama's got
So,
6 guys. Alabama's got 6 guys scoring in double figures, and BYU has 2.
too,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
BYU's got a lot of balance though. They got like
They
they
got
do.
like
They just
5
shoot.
or 6
They
guys
shoot.
averaging between like 7 and 9 points a game.
yeah,
Right.
they
They
have
shoot the
7 or 8
damn ball
guys
so
who are
well, man.
like at or close
And
to
I think
7.
Yeah, and I think the thing with BYU too, man, they do such a good job of spreading the defense out, man. Like it's like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? They just spread the defense out and they just spray the ball all around the court. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you
Exactly.
know what I mean? The guys always ends up open for an open shot, you know, open 3-pointer or something. It's like,
Yeah,
what the fuck are you guys doing? So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
hard to guard those guys, man. They got a bunch of high IQ guys on their team, man, and that coach
Hmm.
is doing a phenomenal job with that team because I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know BYU was still in the fucking tournament. So I was like, BYU. I was
I
like,
had
Yeah,
them losing first
BYU?
round.
that's why
I'm
Yeah, it was crazy, bro. Like, I ain't even gonna
I
lie,
had them
bro. I was
losing to
like,
VCU
BYU
too.
on
you
there?
did.
yeah, I
You got them
had
losing
I had
VCU.
VCU beating Wisconsin.
I got them in the Elite Eight with Duke, so I'm hoping
Yeah,
they get there. Give
yeah.
me some points on
Really?
this bracket.
Wow. So, yeah, no, I'm just, you know, I'm excited for the rest of the tournament. Like I said, if we get past it, I mean, I don't think it's a matter of if, but I think, you know, when we get past Arizona and we run into, I honestly think BYU might be a tougher game for Duke than Alabama would be.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because of, you know what I mean? You see what defenses try to do against us,
Hmm.
right? They try to, you know, they try to spread us out and they try to pull us away from the basket a lot, especially our big guys like, you know, like Kama and you know, not so much Cooper because he's so, you know, versatile and switchable, man, that they can't really do nothing with that. But like I said last time on the pod, the only thing that concerns me with Duke is that we give up a lot of fucking offensive rebounds, man.
Hmm.
That's one thing that really concerns me with Duke. But like from what I noticed, the reason why we giving up all those offensive rebounds is because we try to block every fucking shot. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
like, shit, man. And it's really putting us out of position You know what I'm saying? Especially, you know what I'm saying, down low. But, I mean, I guess that's what an aggressive defense would do for you. So
Mhm.
I'm good with it, man. I think if we keep doing what we're doing and sticking to our guns and being elite on offense and relying on our depth, I think, I mean, good luck. Good luck to the rest of the NCAA, man. I'm looking at raising another banner, bro. That's a fact. So
Jack,
that's my take.
I'm gonna get to you just a second, Jack. I want to actually, because you just brought that up about the rebounding pops. I want to go to Taylor about that because I know you had that flamethrower, man. But one of the parts of your game I used to love was how well you rebounded. Like you were a ridiculous rebounder, bro. Like what do you kind of
He's
see with?
tall as shit.
I'm not that tall. Not compared
You
to the
like
other.
6'8", 6'9"?
I'm
6'8",
6'7",
6'9"?
6'8". Maybe 6'8" on a great day, but with the bald head now, might be 6'7".
Okay, yeah,
But
I
no,
got you.
I was always ingrained. If I didn't play defense and if I didn't rebound, I wasn't playing.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if I made a couple shots, probably would have kept me in a little bit longer. But defense and rebound. That's one thing that I was like, okay, how do I stay on the floor? How do I earn minutes and how do I stay on the floor? Same thing at Villanova. When I was at
Yeah.
Villanova, it was the same thing. Defending and rebounding. He didn't really care if I made shots or not. Right.
Right.
It was defend and rebound, ingrained, right? I do agree. I agree with Pablo. I mean, we do try to contest. Duke tries to contest a lot of shots, right? And therefore it's susceptible. I think our guards have to have big rebounding games this next one, right? Because Caleb Love's going to try to go off, flat out, right? I mean, no matter how you draw it up. Last time he played against Duke, he was 3 for 16 from the floor, right? And that was the third game of the season, right? They didn't shoot the ball well. They shot like 5 for 26 from the 3-point line. I think, and then we only had 2 guys in double figures that game. I think Cooper had like 24 and 7, and then I think Knipple had like 14, right? And so, it's going to be one of these things where rebounding is going to be a big part of that game because they crash like Arizona crashes. And to go on that point of the Bama BYU real quick is I think that BYU is going to have a really tough time with Sears because Sears is a problem. He's a lefty. He's so crafty. He can shoot it at a high clip. He's averaging like 19 a game. 18 or 19 a game. So I think they're going to have a tough time with him. And I love Nelson on that Bama team. I really do. He's so athletic. He's so versatile. Is he 100% healthy? Probably not. But I think they're really tough. And another guy I love on that team is Youngblood. He doesn't play. He's just so tough, dude. He's so tough. That kid is so tough. But to go back on the Duke Arizona game, I just think that Tyrese Proctor, the way he's shooting the ball right now is just he's just strapping ever since the ACC tournament. I mean, he is. He has really got a good feel for his jumper right now, and I love their team. I mean, Knipple's not really producing as much as you'd think he would be producing, but he's still contributing at a high level, right? And he can go off at any time. And so I think you're going to need a bat. It's either going to be a really close game or it's going to be a blowout. That's what I think. That's what I think. I don't think Arizona's going to go down because I love Tommy Lloyd. He recruited me when he was at Gonzaga. He's a phenomenal coach in my opinion. And he's going to have something up his sleeve. Absolutely. Right. To try to defend them at some point. I don't know what they're going to do, but load up, make somebody else beat you. I don't know.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what their game plan is, but he's definitely at the top level coach. And I love, Nate Oates, a great coach too. So it's going to be 4 phenomenal coaches in 2 great games. So it'll be interesting.
Well, shoot, man, let's get into it, Jack. We'll get right to you with the BYU stuff. We'll end with the Arizona stuff. We'll get right to you with the BYU, go to Bama with Pods, and then we'll talk about Arizona to end this thing.
Before I say anything, I am going to say I love to clown on Nate Oates because he's very easy to clown on, but he is a very good coach. All right. BYU, they are a very interesting team. They're very balanced, like we said. They have 8 guys averaging 6.9 points per game or more. A lot of depth. They have nobody playing 30 minutes a game. Their leading Their leading scorer is Richie Saunders, who is also their leader in time on the court, and he's at 29.4 minutes per game.
Mhm.
They shoot a lot of threes. This is a team that on the season has taken almost 1,000 3-point shots, about
It's nuts.
almost 30 a game, basically. They're at 998 total in the season. They shoot it at 37% from deep. Multiple guys shooting over 40% from three on volume, which is something you're going to have to look out for.
Hmm.
It's, their defense is interesting. They do a lot of trap and a lot of just kind of hard hedging help defense, if that makes any sense. I've never actually coached basketball, but I like to think I know ball, so I try to put these terms together in a way that makes sense. Uh, but they on a pick and roll, they'll hedge pretty hard and they'll fully commit to the ball handler, and then recover as soon as they know that the man whose assignment is the ball
Mhm.
has
I
recovered.
feel
But
like
they do not switch at all.
yeah, they
Which is
run a
very
lot. I mean,
yeah.
which makes sense. They run a lot, like honestly, like what the Suns do. Because I mean, Kevin Young was an associate head coach with the Suns.
Yeah, that's a really
I
good
mean,
comparison. And
he's
obviously
taking a
very
lot of
fitting
things they
given
did
that
there.
he was in the league.
Mhm.
It's offensively they love to run when they can. They will take the two in transition, but in the half court, it's a lot of moving the ball around. It's actually kind of similar to what I was talking about with our scout last week on Mount St. Mary's. They're going to move the ball around until there's an open shot, and they're going to take
Yeah.
it, especially if it's a three. I saw very little when I was watching some of their tape. I saw very little anywhere between 10 feet from the hoop and the 3-point line.
Mhm.
It's basically all threes and shots at the basket.
Yeah.
Analytics savvy basketball.
They definitely
Do you
try
have
to
any
drive the
any
kick.
game footage stuff, Jack? I was gonna pull up some.
I can pull it back up. Just give me
Okay.
one sec.
I think one thing about BYU too that people don't talk about a lot, the motherfuckers are old as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
They are.
They're
They
like
are.
mad
And
old,
I
man.
think he's
Like,
out for the season, but Cale Cashing's brother is a freshman on the team.
Yeah.
Cannon.
oh, okay.
Yeah, they all went on Mormon missions till they were 30.
Yeah.
There is
Right?
that.
Yeah, real
Also,
talk.
So
Them dudes got
I
like
love.
kids and
They do have
second
kids now.
jobs and shit.
One of my guys who I've known my whole life is one of their assistant coaches, Burgess. Right?
I was about to bring
Chris
him up.
Burgess?
Yeah,
Yeah, Chris Burgess there, right?
He's a hell of a coach because he was at Utah for a while, and then
Mhm.
Yep.
he's at BYU, and
Former Blue Devil.
former Blue Devil, right? And I played with his brother, his younger brother. Him and I
Okay.
are around the same age, so I know Chris really, really well, and he's a hell of a coach. So they got a great staff as well as not just a great team. So
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, I mean they're just gonna keep rolling too. I mean, not to get into next year, but I mean they got Dibansta coming up too. Like
They
they'll
have
be
a
able to surround
ton
him
of
with some
NIL
guys.
money too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're
I
paying
think
him
have
about
the
$9
most in the
million,
country.
but yeah, I mean,
Right.
other than that, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's money from. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a team you'll see they do a lot of trapping, but not a lot of switching. They'll leave someone open if they trust that he's not going to make the shot.
Hmm.
They'll shoot a ton of ridiculous threes.
They make them
That's basically the
motherfuckers too.
scout on them. They do. Like I said, they shoot at high volume.
Yeah, they remind me of like when you go to the park and you play against like some old dudes, man, that know all the tricks and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They just run your ass
The men's league games that they
The men's league dudes,
they
right?
trap threes.
For real.
Yep, yeah.
They know all
Like
the
a
tricks.
Lifetime or something. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
It's like they got a bunch of Con Knipples basically, man.
Yeah, this shit's annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're bigger than Con Knippel too, which is crazy. They look like they're a little long, like not bigger, thick, wide. They're a little
Right.
longer and taller than I mean, their point guard's 6'8", right?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
he's
crazy.
tough, man. He's tough. They're a tough team. They're a tough team, and I think
They
you're
are,
right,
man.
They're a tough team. They don't have one guy. They have one guy averaging about 8 rebounds a game. Other than that, everybody's around 5 or 4 or 3. So
Yeah.
I think they're a little susceptible to the boards. But
It's a good thing for Duke, who loves to give up a lot of offensive rebounds, according to some of our podcast members.
Yeah.
We don't want to give up the offensive rebounds to them, man. Second shot, second chance
Second
points,
chance is
man.
going to kill
They
because
gonna light your
BYU loves
ass
to
up from the
shoot.
3-point line.
It's
light you
like
up from the 3-point line.
they have less than 1,100 2-point attempts and 998 3-point attempts. It's really 50-50.
Wow.
But yeah, you can see here, no switch, help if needed.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, I at least against this Duke team. I mean, you can't do some of the stuff that they're doing against Wisconsin.
Yeah,
against our Duke
I
team.
don't.
Right.
I don't think they.
You can't do like who you going to leave open? I mean, our one of our shooters that is probably not as consistent as the rest of them is Sion, but he does so many other good things that you can't. He will make a shot though. That's the thing. Like you can't.
I was about to say he's fully capable, right? He's like almost 40% 3-point shooter this year.
Fully capable. One of my kids that I used to coach in high school, he was a walk-on at Tulane, so I went to a ton of their games the last couple years and had a chance to like work with them a little bit on the court. And man, he's such a perfect Duke player, right? Like, guy that's just that's why you hear those interviews with Shire talking about how he's such a great fit, right? It's because he just wanted to do anything to win, right? And do anything to get on the floor.
It's almost wild to me that like K could never really find a guy exactly like him. I think Nate James might be the closest thing to him.
Maybe Nate James about 6'9" too. That's crazy.
right. Yeah, that's like the closest thing I can think of. Yeah. But Nate wasn't really a point guard. He was in high school, but not at the college level. He wasn't really a point guard like seeing.
I mean, in high school, I played the 2, and then I played the 4 in the ACC for Duke. So
right. What else you got, Jack?
Ball. These guys shoot the damn ball,
man. And it happens so fast
they shoot
with them,
the ball a ridiculous amount.
You just got to defend the 3-point line against them.
That's the thing.
Just
run them off the 3. Run them off the 3. You have come on in the paint. Basically, make them operate in the mid range, and it's a completely different game. It's like an unfamiliar game for them.
Well, you kind of, I agree.
They set a ton of screens too, man.
They do.
Yeah.
It's like it. I don't want to say it reminds me of the Warriors, but it almost does because the Warriors run so many screens every time down the court.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're not. Let's put it this way. I don't know. They're tough. Like they're some tough dudes. Like they're not gonna take no shit from anybody, right? Like they'll fight you if they need to, right? And that's another thing about Bama. Bama tries to go out and punk people. I don't know about they're punking this team.
Right.
No.
I mean,
and one
Taylor,
of the things. Go ahead, Jack.
Like you said, Taylor, Mark Sears, I think will give them fits because they
don't have anybody who can guard them.
They're gonna if Omari or Nelson is setting a lot of screens to try to get Nelson open, they're gonna really struggle with staying on a guy like Sears who's shifty.
He's shifty. Can get to the rack.
He's just gonna he finds ways to get open, get to the hoop.
Yeah,
they're gonna struggle with that with the way they run their defense.
Yeah, I agree.
And that was one of the things that killed them when they played Houston. They lost to Houston both times. They played them by like 20. And the two things that Houston really did was chase them off the 3-point line. I mean, I think the last game they played, they were like 6 for 28 from 3. I'm looking at it right now, 6 for 28 from 3. And then Sharp and Cryer, I remember they just went ham on them. They between hitting threes and, like you said, the shiftiness, like being able to get into the lane. They were able to make the lane at will against them and be able to kick out to 3-point shooters and still be able to take those 2-point shots as well. I mean, that's the biggest key, right? Like they're going to hunt the 3. So if you can make the 3s, they get difficult. Get them off the standstill, get them on the move, get them out of the spots they like. I think Duke can do that with the length, with the way they play defense, with the way they switch.
Yeah,
but I think they're going to have to be really disciplined though too, because BYU is a very patient offense, man.
Yep.
Very patient offense, man. And they just screen. They keep moving. A lot of ball and player movement, man. That's
kind of like us.
Guard, man.
It's kind of like us.
The offense is very similar. I will say the biggest thing for BYU is limiting their transition opportunities is going to be huge because they, like I said, they love to run. And if you don't give them the opportunity to run and make them work in the half court, they're going to eat a lot of time.
Yeah.
You got somebody, I forgot, maybe it was Jack made that comparison to the Warriors. It's just more, they look more like an NBA caliber team because they don't shoot any mid range. Like it's a layup or a 3-pointer. And in today's NBA game, it's a layup or a 3. Unless you're making $100 million, you can shoot a mid range in the NBA.
Right.
But other than that, nobody likes the mid range in the league anymore. And you see these guys, they'd rather shoot a layup or a 3-pointer. No one's shooting mid range.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
And that's dangerous. I mean, it's a dangerous team. Like there's a fast break and it's a 3-pointer. Right?
And you know what's happening, right? Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's
so fast too.
Yeah, what you can't do if you're Duke is you can't give up those type of shots, right? Like you want to keep them in the half court, you know, and because they would rather shoot a transition 3 than a transition layup. Like that's the first maybe midi I've seen, but that was even a layup. That was in the paint. But
right.
You know what I mean? And also, like Duke's defense is a hell of a lot better than Wisconsin's. Okay, so let's just put that out there. They got rim protection, and the guards are tough, right? I'm not saying the guards aren't tough for Wisconsin, but Tanjay from Wisconsin's real tough. But other than that, like I don't know if they have a guy defending like Zion or a guy defending like Tyrese.
Right.
I think they just wore Wisconsin out, man. Wisconsin just didn't have any gas no more, man. They got that lead,
and they still had a chance to win the game.
Yeah,
and they still had a chance to win the game.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I mean, if you think about it, they took a really tough, crazy shot going baseline. That was ridiculous. But like,
that was a stupid shot.
You know what I'm saying?
All they had time for.
So you look at Wisconsin coming back in this game, right? And then you look at BYU's shots towards the end, because this is all like obviously what we're watching is highlights of them making shots. But if you watch the end of the game and when Wisconsin went on that run, right? They were playing them on the 3-point. They're getting them off the 3-point line. Yeah. And then and subsequently they were missing shots.
Yep. And that's where I think if Duke does end up with BYU, I think that's where we can match them from the 3-point line where a lot of teams can't, and B, we have the defense to be able to force them off the line. So we, whenever we can opportunistically go 3 for 2, if we can force them into the 2-point shots and get our threes the way we like to get them. I think that'll go a long way and kind of advancing the score for us, at least giving us a lead that is that's palpable. Or if we do get down, we can get back into the game with them.
Yeah, you get the I can't pronounce their last names, but the two brothers that play for BYU, right?
Kata and Trayor,
the big fellas, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if they can. I mean, I just don't know that they can compete with Malawak, right? I mean, Malawak, is that how you pronounce his name?
Malawak,
yeah. And I just don't, he's so big, right? He's so big, and the same with the other backup big for Duke. Like, they're so big and they're so strong, and their ability to rim protect. I think it's going to give those other guys and fits. My opinion.
And there's a chance that Malik Brown is back for that game, if not the Arizona game as well. So
that would be huge.
I mean, it is huge, but that's tough to come back in.
It is
when you're in the flow like that, the flow that Duke is playing in right now, and their backup big is playing so well. Yeah, coming in, getting the minutes that he's got.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it'll kind of be hard to take him out of the rotation.
Any help would be, but that's why Shire's a good coach. So
sure,
he'll figure that out eventually.
No doubt.
So typically,
you got anything else for BYU, Jack? Before we move on to Bama?
Not really. I mean, Pop, you have something?
No, I was just saying, just typically, you know what I'm saying? Like, we switch everything on defense, right? That's the only thing that would like, I think that coach is good enough to counter that, that switch. And then guys are going to be ghosting out of shit, slipping screens, just doing all kind of old school shit that these old motherfuckers know how to do,
Right.
That could potentially be a problem. But, I'm hoping that, John is ready. I know John will be ready for that. And I know Duke will be ready for that. But, that could just be a potential problem, because that's a lot like what Alabama would do too. Oates, he does a lot of different things. He got a lot of different things on offense that he likes to do, especially when teams switch or do whatever defense they play, and they do a good job of countering it. So we'll see what happens, man. I'm excited either way. I think we can whip all their ass. So go Duke.
That's a tough shot that dude tried to hit you, man.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was an absurd shot.
All right, well, let's move to Bama then. Thank you, Jack.
Of course.
We're gonna move on to Bama. I'm just gonna throw some game highlights up from while we're talking about them from the Auburn game that they won to the end of the season, kind of when Auburn's been on there a little bit of a slide that they were on in that regular season.
That was insane.
Pobbs, you had the scout on Bama, man. Just get us started, bro.
Basically, like I said, I mean, elite offensive team, man. Like they put the ball up at a crazy pace. You know what I mean? They want to, they want to get, a lot of shots up and shit, and they want to score or shoot the ball within, I think, was it like 7 to 10 seconds or some shit like
Yeah.
that. And they want to shoot a ton of 3-pointers. Their offense is, really, really analytical driven, which is fine. But, and like I said, when I mentioned earlier, is that I think they're a better defensive team than people give them credit for. Even though I don't think that they're not only I wouldn't even consider them a good defensive team, but they're improved from last year for sure.
Okay.
Last year, I think they was just whack as hell on defense, and it was just like, man, we're just gonna run all over you. It's like, and they basically like last year, they just came out like they just wanted to outscore you. Period. They didn't even care about defense. But I think this year, you see the difference in Alabama, especially with the personnel that they have. And I really, really like their guard play, man. Like Taylor said earlier, man, Sears is so damn tough, man. He is tough. He's a little on the smaller side, so I think we match up with this team well from the guard standpoint. From the bigs, man. Like, was it how you say his name? Amari?
I think it's pronounced Amari.
Cliff Amari.
Cliff, whatever. Fuck his name is, whatever. They losing anyway, so it don't matter. But like Cliff Amari, you know what I'm saying? Like him, you know what I mean? Like he's a dog, bro. He's a dog, and this is one team that I will worry about us giving up offensive rebounds to. You know what I mean? Because they hit the boards hard, bro. They hit the boards hard, and it's like, with us trying to block everything, if you don't block it and if you just deter the shot, I mean that's fine, but they're still gonna be on the boards. You know what I'm saying? Between him, Amari, and the other big kid that starts Sherelle.
Yeah,
Sherelle is another dog, bro, that I worry about.
Yeah,
and
young blood. Yeah, young blood too gets in there too.
Young blood and Grant Nelson, man. They all some fighters, man. They all go in there and they're tough, man.
And they played in the best conference in the country too.
For sure.
It was a battle every night in that conference.
Yeah,
for sure. And Grant Nelson's obviously he's a matchup problem. That'd be him and Coop would be a hell of a matchup, man. I'd love to see that. And that can go either way. I got my money on Coop, just from the defensive standpoint, and me being a Duke fan, but it's whatever. I think in this game though, they did a really, really, really good job of making Auburn chase them, man. Especially off of even like that drag screen right there in transition, bro. He turned the corner so fast, bro. Auburn didn't even know what the hell to do, man. They were like, "What the hell?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Oates is a mastermind on offense, bro. He's a mastermind. And it's crazy because that they want to shoot the ball. They want to shoot a three. Then they want to get the ball up early. And you still can't stop them. You know what I mean? They're still doing their thing, And it's just one of those things, man. And I really like Phylon coming off the bench.
Yeah.
That freshman guard coming off the bench is tough, bro.
He is tough. He is tough
as hell, bro. Tough as hell. He just and when he comes in, he gives you a different look than, what they start with. And so it's just like, you expecting, full throttle, like with Sears all the time. Sears kind of plays at one pace, and that's pretty fast. Feinline comes in the game, and he just be chilling. You know what I mean? And he just killing you. So that's one of those things.
They got Sears is not necessarily shooting the ball from the 3-point line particularly well. He's shooting like 33% from the 3-point line, but they got 3 guys shooting over 40%. Right. Holloway, Youngblood are at like 42. I mean, Holloway's at like 42% from the 3-point line. So, they got guys that could really shoot it. But I think their best offense, honestly, is putting the ball up and going get it.
Right.
I mean, put the ball up and go get it. And, they're just so athletic that, you can't give up offensive rebounds. And that's a little bit of an Achilles heel for Duke, this year. They don't have many, but, if you were to choose one, it would probably be giving up offensive rebounds. Right.
Yeah.
So that would be a point of emphasis if they were to match up with them in the Elite Eight.
And honestly, because of that, I could absolutely see that being a game where, because we don't trail much this season, I could see us trailing because of that fact right there that you just talked about. I mean, because they're gonna attack while they have all that energy and they haven't been run off of screens and everything yet. They're gonna be attacking the board. It's crazy.
And they don't walk the ball. They don't walk the ball up the floor.
No, not at all.
The ball goes in the basket. They are getting that bitch up the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they like
So-
to do a lot of pick and pop and let Nelson go to the rack, or like you just saw, or they just run a lot of slip screens too and get guys driving. I mean, they like to drive the ball to the basket too.
Yeah, they definitely have their guards definitely want to play downhill.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be important for us to keep their guards out of the lane, man, because if we keep them out of the lane, and hopefully keep them off the offensive rebounders, because if they're not getting into the lane, we don't have to help. You know what I'm saying? And getting guys out of position, you know what I mean?
Correct.
And setting them up for, rebound, weak side rebounding or whatever the case may be. So I think, Duke, I mean, they're going to have their work cut out for them, but I think we're up to the challenge for sure. And I think we definitely have the personnel as far as on the wings and the guard play to really match up with their guards. I mean, we're significantly bigger than them, you know what I'm saying, at that spot.
Right.
So, but like he said, again, man, they said a lot of screens, man, and they said a lot of different screens at different angles too, man. And that's the one thing that Oates really does well. He doesn't set just like regular ball screens. They do like a lot of angle screens, man, just to get these guys downhill. So we're going to really have to communicate, man, on defense. So
they also turn the ball over 13 times a game.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was just about to say that's where the games they lost. That's kind of where you saw. I love that play, and then the Eagle, then the crane.
He's a first round draft pick.
Yes,
he might even be. If you might even be a lottery. I don't know.
Yeah,
sure.
He's tough, man. And he came from where? He came from
North
Dakota State.
South Dakota
State.
Exactly.
He looks like a kid from the Dakotas. Honestly, it's hilarious.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They're out there. The dudes are.
I mean, I loved seeing him at, like you saw the writing on the wall. Like when he was at North Dakota State, you saw what he could be. And I don't think they didn't make the tournament right with him. Then they lose in their conference championship because they
lost to Baylor Shireman.
They had another big on the team that was kind of taking all the shots instead of him.
That's another one. Shireman, right?
Shireman,
went to Creighton. Look at him now.
Yeah, he was a first round pick.
Like
I think, if I may really quickly, I think a couple of shows ago, AC, you talked about how when we played Carolina, Sion made sure after every made Duke basket that the basketball ended up in the hands of the referee.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Duke ends up playing Bama, that's something that might have to happen again, so that
I mean, Duke is super comfortable playing slow, and that's like Bama lost to Tennessee, and Tennessee is another team that slow balls you. Tennessee doesn't have the offense that Duke has. Duke can, like you just saw it with Baylor. Duke had 61. They were on a 61 possession pace and put up 89 points. That's ludicrous, bro. Like, and like a lot of it was at the free throw line. A lot of it was from three. So, I mean, that's what you're gonna have to do against Bama. You're gonna have to be patient with them. You're gonna have to slow them down. They can make mental mistakes, and they have made mental mistakes in games. That's where a lot of those turnovers come from. And I think that's where you beat a team like Bama is patience, because they are gonna do their fast play. They are gonna do their thing where they're getting downhill on you. But if you can be patient, if you can force them to be patient, you can outsmart them throughout the game. And I think that's where Duke is gonna have to be efficient and really be on their game to pull away from them, because I do think, because of the offensive rebounding a little bit and because of the way they play, I do think that this is a game that you could see Duke trailing early in. Again, you see that a lot in the flow of games where a really good offensive rebounding team gets started on you early because they grab the boards until you adjust to what they do.
Yeah. I think our transition defense, man, our half court defense is gonna have to be on point.
Yeah, for sure. For all three of these games, possibly we have in this region.
Sure.
Honestly,
sure.
Yeah, I was just about to say, from here on out, everything needs to be on point. I mean, maybe you could afford to not be on point against Mount St. Mary's or even,
Baylor,
even Baylor, right?
Yeah.
But you can't do that moving forward. I mean, everything has to be. It's a possession by possession game, and you can't give up possessions, right? Because they're so far and few, right? That you need to value the ball. Turnovers is another big thing. You cannot turn the ball over, giving extra possessions to a team like Bama or even Baylor or even BYU or even Arizona.
For sure, especially because that's not something those teams live and thrive on their defense. Like
no. They thrive on turnovers and scoring off turnovers. Yes,
exactly. Yeah, if you're giving them extra stuff, then you're definitely not winning that game.
No.
Man, they go to defense to offense so damn fast, man.
They do, man.
Auburn.
They do.
Yeah. It's like, damn. even on a make, bro. They just like boom, they up the court already.
Right there. Look, I mean, you can't jog down with your head back turned to them, man. You can't.
That's what I was saying. They never walk.
them.
They never walk the ball off the floor, like ever.
No,
like, ball is out.
True.
And now they're going, right?
Yeah.
They're up the floor. They're up beyond 2-3 seconds. They're past half court.
Yeah, I mean that was good. That was biting Auburn, man. Like the fact that they were trying to be able to chill and do what they do, and they were like, nah, Bama was like right back, right up their back. They just attack, man. I like the way they attack.
Yeah,
I don't think they're as deep as a Duke, right?
Right. No.
I think,
No chance.
I don't think. Again, like I said, I don't think they're as deep. I think Duke has got to be the. It's the same thing for Arizona. I don't think they're very deep either.
Right.
You got 6, maybe 7 that could go, right? Duke's got about 8 or 9, right? That could go. And that's the beauty about Duke, right? That's the beauty about when I was there. Now, when I was there, it was a little, we were really, really good. We were number 1 in the country for a long time, right? And
yeah, that's right.
And then we, Coach K back then, he really liked to cut his lineups to like 6, 7 guys because of the trust factor, right? And then we ended up losing, I think, 2 or 3 ACC games in a row, and then lost in the ACC tournament. I think the Georgia Tech, I think, is who we lost to, or
yeah,
right. And so, yeah, but I think that the depth of this Duke team is one of their biggest strengths, no question.
Yeah, and we're gonna get on. I'm actually gonna get in on that on the Arizona Scout a little bit, because in game they did a thing where they were in the huddle with Duke and John Shire was talking. So I want to show that in a minute when we get to that part, because it really does speak to them being able to just wear teams down. In that Arizona game, we still only played like 8. Like we didn't even play Isaiah Evans. We didn't play Pat Ngangba. It was Mason Gillis and Malik Brown off the bench with Cian James. So like that was like those were the 3 off the bench.
And Isaiah Evans didn't play much against Baylor either.
Right. 7 minutes.
It's crazy. He hasn't really had a good, not good, but like he hasn't had a typical, like what we're used to, a typical Isaiah Evans game in a tournament so far. And I think he might be due, man.
I think he's pressing a little bit too. I think he's pressing a little bit because
he's playing at home.
Draft boards are obviously thinking he's a first round pick, right? And whether you like it or not, these dudes are thinking about the league too, right? Like,
for sure.
If I perform in the NCAA tournament, I'm going to league. Like, it's flat out what happens, right? I mean, guys show out in the NCAA tournament, and you go to the league. Now,
exactly,
he'll get his opportunity, right? Now it's just about making the most out of that opportunity,
right?
Because if he's not making shots, I hate to say it, he's not going to play much in this game.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
He's not going
to play much in this game.
Yeah, he's not at Duke for his defense.
But you're also going to take a guy who's been to the Final Four, Mason Gillis. You're also going to take a guy who's played 3-4 years already at Duke. You're going to Zion's played. This is 5th year in college, right? So like you're going to play guys with more experience than you would an Isaiah Evans now, unless he's draining shots.
Yeah,
it's a different story.
Yeah,
for sure.
And we were talking about it on our show the other night. One of the nice things about having Zay on the floor is him and Khan at the same time, especially. You give up a little bit defensively there, but you have, if you put those 2 on the floor, you almost have 2 perimeter defenders who are out of the equation because they are face guarding those 2.
Correct.
Like completely, like to the point where they're like out of the play. So with the way we move the ball, the way we pass the ball, and the motion that we have, I mean, with those guys on the floor, it's a killer offensively.
Right.
And you haven't seen it much because we haven't had to use. We've beaten teams so bad, like we haven't had to use those creative things that John wants to do. And I think you see him in little snippets in some games. And I know Taylor, you can speak to this. A lot of times what college coaches do is there's some games, meaningless games they're up on. They'll experiment with some stuff that they want to use in like a real situation, but they just throw it out there in a game that really doesn't matter because when the other teams are scouting, they're not looking at those possessions. And I think you see that some with this team.
Yeah, I think they more experience with different lineups than anything.
Yeah.
Which lineups work, which ones don't. Do we go small with putting? I say small with Cooper kind of playing the 5 out, right? You play 5 out. But yeah, I agree. You kind of there's times where you could do that, for sure. And where they've done that in the past. K didn't really do much of that. I think Shire would probably do more because that's just who, it's kind of the modern day basketball is what we're talking about. And so K, yeah, I don't really know how much K would do that.
No, that's not a K thing.
That's not a K thing whatsoever.
That's not a K thing.
You don't want to be in those film sessions if you're trying to do shit like that.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Fuck.
Look, we're definitely gonna have you back on the show. We're gonna talk more about that when we get you back.
Yeah.
But awesome. You got anything else, Pods, for Bama?
Nah, fuck them. Go Duke.
All right.
Straight up.
I like it. All right. To Arizona. That's what we got next. Duke versus Arizona 2, part 2. We've seen them one time already this year. Some people say that's an advantage for the losing team. Some people say that's the advantage for the winning team. I think in the case for either one of these, it doesn't matter.
No.
Hey, I was about to say, I see you shaking your head, right?
That doesn't mean a fucking thing, dude.
At all, right?
This is the Sweet 16. Absolutely means zero. Will they watch a little bit of film? Maybe not, honestly.
Right.
Probably not. Maybe just about some sets or some bullshit. But a lot's gone on from the third game of the season to the 36th game of the season.
And that's kind of what I wanted to touch on, right? It's like both teams have changed. Arizona has changed what they do. They've changed their starting lineup. I mean, they've moved KJ Lewis, and KJ Lewis has gone to the bench now for Del Orso. Obviously, Krivas is out, so that's ascended Trey Townsend into the starting lineup. And now they're trying to find more minutes for Carter Bryant than they've done throughout the season. Kind of out of necessity. He's a great player, right?
He's a player. I coached against him when I was coaching in high school back in California, and he went to Corona Centennial. He's a player. He will be a very, very good. And this is the thing about Arizona, right? Obviously their best all-around player is Caleb Love, right? I mean, and he's been around a long time. I don't know what year this is for him, like 6 maybe. I don't know.
He's number 5. It's number
5. Yeah, I don't. So exactly, we've seen him since We've seen him since COVID, right? So it shows you how long that's been. But I agree with you. I think they have they're pretty well balanced in the sense of they got 3 guys scoring double figures. I don't necessarily know if they shoot it at a high clip. 3-point wise, they're shooting 32% from the floor on the 3-point line for the season. That's not great, right? It's not great. And obviously their best shooter is Del Orso. He's shooting like 41% from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all he does. But I think that again, they're very, very well coached. So I think that's what scares me the most.
As continues to grow in an inorganic way.
I mean, that's what scares me the most with this Arizona team is their coaching is very, very good. But looking at their lineup and looking at what they've done in the tournament, I don't know how they're going to be able to guard Duke.
That's the biggest thing, right?
I don't know how I don't know what they're going to do if they can come up with any scheme. It's more like we're going to, load up on Cooper and then try to make somebody else beat you. But that hasn't worked for a lot of fucking teams that have done that,
Right.
So, I don't know what they're going to do, but
that's the scary part. Because like you said, Tommy Lloyd is such a good coach. He always comes up with some crazy shit. So
might have to go zone.
Triangle and 2 or some crazy shit.
Might have to go zone 1-3-1, 3-2, something, right? To muck it up, change defenses, maybe apply some full court pressure, which again is not smart.
Try to throw Duke off.
I mean, if I were coaching against Duke, right, and I had some talent on my team, I would look to pressure the ball and to maybe take that up to 3-quarter court, right? Zion's not really a true point guard. Tyrese is your point guard, but he's not really your, I would say he's a true point guard. Maybe he's a combo guard. You know what I'm saying? So, if I'm coaching, I'm going, okay, I'm going to try to speed them up, right? I try to. Now, this is all, hypothetical shit I'm talking about here because Duke's so good.
Right.
But, Foster can hold on to Foster can control the ball a little bit, but again, you don't have that true point guard, right? That's Sears or that what's the kid's from Auburn's name, the point guard, number 0, I can't remember his name.
Pettiford. Todd Pettiford, yeah.
Or Jace Richardson, right, or somebody like that. You don't have that true point guard. Donovan Dent, another baller, SoCal guy, baller.
See what you did there.
In the transfer portal. Wonder where he'll end up.
Might be
Taylor, I'm hearing 2 things. One's Duke, the other's Nova. So you win regardless.
Well, it depends. Who got the Nova job? Anybody know yet?
It's not gonna be Pitino.
Richard Pitino.
He's going to Villanova.
Yep.
Yeah.
I heard Pitino, but my guy's inside. No, I live a few miles from Nova. I'm close with a few people there. I'm hearing a lot of Porter Moser smoke still. So.
Nah,
I don't like that one either.
Nah,
I'm not really a big Pitino guy either. So somebody was talking about Mick Cronin. I'm like, please, God, no.
God, that would be terrible.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah.
I also heard Chris Collins.
That's another one I've heard.
It's not going to be Collins. Apparently, that was manufactured.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But let's get to it, man. I want to get to this because we're gonna look at the Duke game. Obviously, it's the 3rd game of the season. A lot has changed for both teams, but I think there's some things schematically that work in Duke's favor here, and you'll kind of see it, especially considering that Arizona does not have Krivas available for this game.
I think everything works in Duke favor against Arizona. Shit,
I agree. I was more worried about Baylor than I was Arizona, honestly.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And both teams are kind of in the same place, right? Both of them are missing key depth at the post position. And it kind of limits what they want to do because one of the things Arizona wants to do is work from the post inside out. It sets up a lot of their shots. You're going to see this right off the bat early on in the game. They went up on us early. A couple of things. I just made a little list of things that while this stuff is playing in the background that Duke did well against Arizona. Number one, their activity on the glass. One of the better offensive rebounding teams in the nation. Duke held them to 6 in the game. That was enormous, and they only ended up with 24. 24 was it 24 rebounds total, or they had 24 defensive rebounds? I can't remember how that 24 defensive rebounds because we out rebounding 43 to 30. So our activity on the glass was enormous, man. And enforcing the offense to run off angle, you'll see that a lot. Some of the defensive clips that I pull up. Trying to force them towards the baseline, basically the no middle defense against them. I think you'll see another version of that, especially because Awaka is not offensively, he's not a threat this game. So I think you might even see some job coverage from Duke. You saw it in this game when Awaka was the only big on the floor, when Krivas was out. Attacking the middle of the paint, we did that a lot. They play that matchup zone, kind of like if people remember the old school Arizona with Lute Olson, Tommy Lloyd kind of brought back that matchup zone a little bit. So they do run that quite a bit, and they did run that quite a bit in this game. They switched to man because the zone wasn't working, but they've gone back to the zone now throughout the season. So we'll see if they do go back to the zone against Duke. If they do, that's trouble in my opinion because Duke they eat zones up with the way they move the ball.
Did Awaka play in the first game?
Yeah, he did. He was in foul.
He was 0 for 1.
3 rebounds.
He had 3 rebounds. He didn't.
You'll see
do much. Honestly,
he had 2 fouls in like 12 seconds. Both of them on the
Jaden Bradley probably did the best. I mean, he shot 50% from the floor. He had 18 points, but 0 rebounds. We have rebounded them by 13 in that game, right?
And they forced Bradley to the interior for those mid-range shots we were kind of talking about. They didn't let him become a 3-point shooter.
And that's what I was saying. Caleb Love was 1 for 9 from the 3-point line that game. He was 3 for 13 total. But I just think
I'm sure he only had 1 made shot until the game was pretty firmly out of hand.
Right. Mm-hmm. So they were 6 of 23 from the 3-point line, and Duke was 9 of 25. So in the second half, in the first half, Arizona was 3 for 12. In the second half, Arizona was 3 for 11. From the 3-point line. So. And Carter Bryant's gotten a lot better from that third game to now.
Yes.
Right.
And historically, man, Duke, especially with Tyrese Proctor, has done a good job guarding Caleb Love. This game, you saw Reese and Cian James on him a lot. One of the things Cian James did, especially better than what Caleb Foster was doing defensively this game, and you'll kind of see it. Actually, this might be one of the first. Yeah, this is the first play I wanted to bring up. Actually, we kind of doubled down on the post. We're not going to need to do that this game. And then the other thing is fighting over the screens. You'll watch Caleb Foster after this play. The recovery right there. That's where Jaden Bradley gets one of his threes off that recovery from the post. That's what Arizona wants to be able to do. That is dip the ball to the interior to be able to get it to the outside. It's going to be hard for them to do that without Creeves. They got Visar, but he's not going to be able to do it alone. And again, that post depth is going to do something to wear them down, man. Like that's one of the things. That's one of the things about this team is their ability to wear teams down. But right here, let me go right back because this is an example of their matchup zone. So I wanted to point this out. So you'll see kind of how they switch all the movement. They're going to switch on for the most part. They're going to send somebody else through to somebody else, and you'll see it especially with Bradley and Love on the side. This side closest to us, and that's just that's kind of to try to counteract some of the movement that's going to happen to the interior. But what it does is leaves that middle open like that, and that's Duke was terrible. Like from shooting, we were bad shooting this game, especially to start. Like Taylor pointed out, 2 guys in double figures. It was Coop and Khan, 24 and 13. Nobody else really hit shots this game, man. And the bigs weren't involved. Like Malawatch wasn't, we talk about Carter Bryant getting better. Malawatch has gotten so much better. We've added Pat Ngongba as an interior presence. Like we've changed the way we play a lot with those guys on the interior.
Duke shot 3 free throws in the first half. 3. Yep. So
that's also going to be different.
That's also going to be much different, right?
Absolutely.
And games are officiated differently in the NCAA tournament than they are in this type, right?
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's just
if we could come out of this game healthy, that's a plus. Like I said last night, bro. Between
I got
Toby
clips of Waka. I got some clips of it, Pops. Just for you, I brought them up.
Oh, okay.
Just for you, I brought it up. Real quick, we're gonna look at Zona's one of the plays that they run a lot especially to get some threes off the top of the key to initiate their offense. They run this dribble handoff series up top. So you'll see them kind of flashing back and forth, running a dribble handoff, trying to set up off angle. And then right there, they run that big to the top of the key to be able to set things up. Owaka can't do that. We're gonna play drop on him. So we're not gonna that screen's gonna be kind of null and void because you're not playing the role. Like Owaka offensively just can't. He can't function that way, man. And they've been using Visar in the role. He does. He sets some damn good screens, but he's gonna give you a foul on 2 of them.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said last night, bro. Like he literally could be charged with like a Class C felony every game he plays for the shit that he does. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro,
be running back again to that handoff series. I like this play a lot.
Playing MMA and shit out there, like. Owaka is wild, man. And
so right there, I wanted to go back to that one because I wanted to talk about what Caleb Foster did there. And actually you'll see, I think I have another play on here where Cian James is in the game on that same type of play. You'll see the difference between Cian James and Caleb Foster with how they play this. Caleb stayed underneath the screen. Cian plays over top of every screen. He runs through every single screen he plays. So that 3 is not going to be available if Cian is up top playing defense there.
Well, and that's No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Please.
No, that's why Caleb Foster's playing a little bit more is because he's not doing that other shit that he was doing.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, I am 100% sure that they're going over that in pregame or in scouting report, right? We're locking and trailing over the screen, right? Forcing the guard into the big, run them off the 3-point line. And because their bigs aren't going to shoot, and so that's and if Caleb Foster goes under, he's not going to be playing.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
But
and you can see the trust on the team too defensively. Like they trust Malawatch and Ngongba to have their back on those screens. It gives you more freedom to play over top of the screen. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
You feel more comfortable playing over top of the screen even because those dudes are going to be there.
It's also I think that the guards have done a much better job. If Caleb Love shoots shots like that, we're gonna win by fucking 40.
And he's going to though. Like he's gonna do that.
Yeah.
Like he's doing that. Exactly. At least a couple of them.
It's just so funny.
Definitely see him emptying the clip.
Yeah, it's so funny to watch what I'm watching right now, and then to see where Duke is now. They are much better team now than they were when they were playing this game. It ain't even close. This is like a whole different team.
Right.
You know,
it's funny, man. I was listening to the Arizona podcast. We split our show tonight. We're doing the Coach's Corner. We got D and TK, another TK. We got D and TK doing the show with the Arizona guys, and I was listening to their podcast, and one of the things they said, they were like, Duke hasn't changed, but us as Arizona, we've gotten so much better. I was like, man, y'all couldn't be further from the truth.
They said that Duke hasn't changed, but that's what everybody says. You know?
Everyone says that. It's never accurate.
You know, it's never accurate. That's much. That sounds like
it's wild, isn't it?
They need to be drug tested.
Did you say they need to be drug tested?
Yeah, they need to be drug tested. They tripping. But you know, you can always tell who watches basketball, who don't watch basketball, man. They just make like random off the cuff comments like that, like Duke hasn't changed. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like they have complete, like they're like a 180. You know what I mean from this game and shit.
Well, I think what Duke has done, which is what their goal is every year, is to try to have an identity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Try to get an identity about what they want to be this year and how they want to operate, right? And you know, you play through your best player in the country, and that's what it is. That's what they did with JJ when he was there. That's what they did with, you know, when they won the championship in 2010 or something. Kyle Singler was, you know, and Gerald Henderson were kind of those guys. You know, and I think I just think that they have an identity now that they know who they are, right, and they know how they're supposed to play every game. Right. And I think that's when you see really talented Duke teams that lose in the NCAA tournament or lose those games that you're like, oh, they're not supposed to be losing those games. It's because they haven't figured it out, right? They haven't figured out who they are, you know, and that's been a key ever since I was there, getting recruited by them, and even my time after when I was close with some guys that played there, you know. I played with Dawkins in the G League when I was playing professionally. And we talked a lot about those Duke teams that we had. You know, who was on that national championship team. Right. You know, and so and that is a big point. A point of talking about it is they have a huge advantage to other teams because they have the best player in the country who's only a freshman, and then they have 3 or 4 guys that have been in college for 4 or 5 years. Right. And their other freshmen are going to be lottery picks, right? They're going to be first round lottery picks. And that's what separates them from everybody else, in my opinion. I mean, you know, they're 3 or 4 year, 5-year guys that have played and been in massive important games in their career aren't even guys that are going to go first round. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like Knippel's going to be a lottery pick, and Malowak's going to be a lottery pick, and Cooper's going to be number 1 pick. It's like, you know what I'm saying? And Isaiah Evans might even be a first round pick, and he doesn't even fucking play that much. So like, what are we talking about here? You know? So they just have have such a big advantage, I think, towards other teams, and it's because they have an identity. So
they absolutely do. Absolutely. This is for Pops right here. I wanted to pull up the Awaka, watch him knock Khan down first. Foul number 1. Foul number 1.
That looks like a strong safety right there. Jeez.
And then next possession. Next possession. Hold on. He's about to pull Malik Brown down on the offensive rebound. Watch him. And he's done this all season. Like, this is nothing new. Like, he had 4 fouls the other night against Oregon and had to sit the majority of the second half. Like, there he goes.
Yeah, he fouling people on offense, bro.
That's a football penalty.
That's 2 offensive fouls in a row, bro.
And he's a head case.
He is.
Yeah.
You know, he's a head case. And is he playing? Did they say he was playing?
Yeah, he's playing.
Walker's gonna play. Yeah,
Krivas is the one who's
out.
And with Krivas out,
go ahead, Jack.
Krivas being out just straight up like makes Awaka that much more important. And if he's doing things like that, like that's not good for them.
No, it's not good at all for them.
He fouls motherfuckers in the warm-ups. Straight up.
Oh no! All right, let me see if we'll see if the captions actually work on this. I'm gonna try to play this real quick. The captions never work on YouTube.
Trust me. Cut with the purpose, screen with the purpose. We'll get great stuff. Keep fighting for our shots. Hey, Fight for our shots. Fight for our shots. Trust me, they will break down. They will break down. We got cut and screen with the purpose, though, and it's an off-ball game. It's an off-ball game. Keep defending our asses. Good offensive possession.
And so that's been their mentality all year, right? Like, cut with a purpose, screen all day. I'm about to pull up a clip. This is the last clip I'll pull up so we can get up out of here. But I mean, you saw it with UNC, the way they wore RJ Davis down. You saw it against Baylor, the way they wore their guards down. You've seen it all season. Like, I can go down the line and just keep pointing it out. That's one of the things this Duke team does, is they make you run off of so many screens. Like, you are tired, you are exhausted because you're already playing hard defense, and now you got to run after screen after screen after screen every possession down the floor. Like, that's rough, man. That's rough, and you got to worry about the cut too. Like, that's rough. Like, that's hard. And like you said, they will break down, and they did. Like, this game was close through like the 17-minute mark of the second half, and then Duke just blew it out and extended the lead to that 14-15. We didn't hit shots, but extended to 14-15 and just held it the entire time that game. And like Taylor said, we're a totally different team now, especially offensively. Like, it's wild.
Like, you got, like, at that time of the season, bro, like in the beginning of the season, our offense was a lot more stagnant and shit, bro. Now we're getting shit, man. We're getting shit that's like amazing
and
now, bro. That
we
ball
still won
is
this
moving.
game by 14 points.
By 14.
Yeah.
After shooting the ball like shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
After shooting the ball like shit. So that's just.
I don't think there's anything that Arizona could do to win this game.
So
other than Duke fucking staying in fucking North Carolina and forgetting that they had the game. You know what I'm saying?
And they're already in Newark, so it's all good. Yeah. They're already there. So I just want to watch this play real quick. Just count how many screens KJ Lewis is going to have to go through. He's down here right now on Con, if you can see the arrow. And then watch at the shot contest. Just watch how tired he is after running off these screens, man. This is every possession for your best defender.
Yeah, Arizona don't have the most disciplined defense, that's for sure.
No. Bump one, bump two, splash. And just moving them around the floor, man. And there's another play in a minute where it's kind of the same thing, but just like he's just tired at that point, man. And Khan didn't move a lot. Like, it's just you bump him once, you bump him twice, maybe go around Caleb, and then he's got to contest that shot off his man, like with no help at all from Bradley. Like, he didn't get any assistance from Bradley at all. And that's one of the problems with Arizona. Defensively, they're not like the guys haven't bought into what Lloyd and his staff want them to do defensively fully. And I think that's why since February they haven't won more than 2 games in a row. They had a stretch in January where they won 4 or 5 games in a row, and then from that point on, they never won 2 games. They've never won more than 2 games in a row the rest of the season.
Well, AC, they've won 2 games in a row.
Mm-hmm. So the streak over, right? Like,
their ass.
It's just so hard, man. When you're not consistent, it's so hard to just totally say you can just rely on, vim and vigor. You can rely on them, wanting to beat Duke and Caleb Love, his last game against Duke and all the other stuff like that. That's good for like the start of the game and good to get you into a point, but that doesn't get you through an entire game. Especially when you got to deal with this shit all the time. Like, just a couple defensive possessions right here, and then we're gonna be out of here, man. It's just the defense that we played on them.
And they get the other Nwangba, right?
Gongba.
How you pronounce it?
Gongba.
Gongba. Sorry,
No, you're good. You're good.
He didn't even fucking play. He didn't even play this game.
Yeah, Big Pat didn't play
at all.
Not 1 minute. So that just goes to show you how much they've evolved over the year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just next man up. But
yeah,
you watched. I think Paulo made a good point about the offense. It's just a little bit more stagnant in this game than it was obviously, over the last 3-4 weeks of playing, and how much better they've gotten. It's also like they're going to throw wrinkles in everything that they're doing, right? Like,
sure,
there's no way that they're going to keep running the same shit. They're going to run the same actions, but just have different wrinkles out of those actions, right? Where you're going to get a little bit more of an ISO for Remember they used to run that high pick and roll with Khan and Cooper.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not much of that going on lately.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. So they might go back into that at some point, maybe in this next game or in this tournament at some point. You know, that worked really, really well for them. I mean, really well.
They're kind of bringing up about how they haven't put much on tape for a lot of teams because they haven't been running those things. They haven't run the flare screens that were getting Isaiah Evans and Concanipple open for threes. They haven't been doing a lot of that because they haven't had to.
Yeah,
Well,
I hope Arizona
does
that. I hope Arizona does that because this whole little matchup zone they're playing is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
that middle is so wide open. It's
man.
I mean,
it's been there. It's still that way for them though. Like that's the thing. Like defensively, they haven't changed much. Like offensively, they've done some things differently, but defensively, they really haven't changed much, and they still give the middle up.
Yeah, but
they still give it up.
Again, like I said before, this is the tournament, so it's a whole different. Everybody's
all bets are off.
Everybody's level of game, no matter if it's Arizona that hasn't won more than 2 games all year in a row, everything raises up to another level, and it's like everything is magnified. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but with the way Duke has been playing, I don't see this game being close either.
Yeah, and the last clip is just this is just positional defense right here. Like no switching needed, no screens to run off of. It was just defend your man on the shots. You know what I mean? Like they're tired. Like Zona's tired at this point because they don't have depth. They've had to do it on the defensive end the entire time. Like it's like John said, wear them down. Like they will break down, and they did. That's like a perfect example of it. So I just wanted to show that real quick before we cut out. But yeah, man. So we got Arizona coming up. Like I said, I think we should handle business there. Then it's a matter of who do we play next, BYU or Bama, and what are we looking at? Are we looking at a team that we're going to have to defend with patience in BYU, or are we looking at just a straight up just dogfight with Alabama, where we're just who's got more dogs, who's got more runners, like them or us? This is an interesting pod, man. I know people were like Duke's region's weak or whatever. Like no region's weak, number one. And you play the games in front of you, and like you're at this point in the tournament. Like nobody. Then it's not weak. Like you're playing difficult teams and difficult games every time out.
Whoever said that has zero basketball knowledge. But
yeah,
Seth Greenberg.
Seth Greenberg, yeah, he's also the one that said that Derek Queen didn't travel when. However, there's no gather step in the NCAA, but he said that there was.
That was a walk.
He's an
idiot. He also said Steph Curry is not good enough to play Virginia Tech. So
yeah. So what are we talking about here? So the only guys I really listen to on that are Tom Crean. I really listen to because I love him and he recruited me. Other than that, Jay Billis, listen to him all the time. Jay Williams, I take with a grain of salt. Love him, but I still take him with a grain of salt.
Right,
that's my guy. That is my guy. But other than that, that's about it.
Yeah. No, my man. Well, Taylor, thank you for staying on with us, man. Hour and 20. Man, appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate y'all having me, man. Appreciate it,
man.
Yeah.
Pause. Thank you for the scout on Bama, Jack. Great job with BYU. Taylor, anything you want to plug? I know you're a trainer, basketball trainer in Dallas area.
No, man. I'm just I'm out here in East Dallas. I do private training, personal training. Player development. That's what I've been doing the last 6 years. So. Other than that, man, I love to talk hoops and be involved in the game. So
we'd love to get you back on, bro. Like this is
anytime you want me.
Man, we make it to the Final Four. We might bring you back for the Final Four coaches corner, man. Like
anything, my path has been a little here, and the book is being written, and it's wild. It was a wild ride. So, but.
You on Twitter, Taylor?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. Yeah.
Is this you, Taylor_King31?
Yeah. And then my Instagram is TayKing31 too.
Okay, bet.
TayKing31, yeah.
Definitely gonna follow you.
TayKing31.
Yeah.
_King.
Can you still shoot the rock?
Can I still shoot the rock? Is that a serious question?
Yeah. You know it.
Check the videos, man. Check the videos. No, so before I go, one of my best friends in California is Corey Maggette, right? Corey and I go way, way back. And
yeah.
I coached his son at my high school that I used to coach at.
Okay.
And so him and I played on the same Druid League team for the last like 3 years before I moved out here. So it just goes to the Duke blood runs deep.
Brotherhood, man. The brotherhood.
It runs deep. That's my guy over there. And so but yeah, man, it's been fun. It's been fun. But I'm looking forward to this next game for Duke, and they make it to the Final Four. I'll see y'all in San Antonio.
I was about to say, I noticed a few times, man, you say we an hour still. I like that, man. I like when you talk to Duke, you saying we an hour. I like it, man.
I'll get back on the pod later. It wasn't always like that. So just so y'all know that.
I feel you. Yep.
There was some bumps in the road, and that was all my doing. And so, we've come to hatch out a lot of things. And so, I'm just grateful that Coach K and I are on good terms. And so that's really the most important thing. So, but I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, bro. 5 Point fan. Thank
y'all.
Yeah. All right.
Have a good night, bro.
All right.
Sir, we out.